بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل لساني يفقهوا قولي. أسأل الله عز وجل bless this gathering. اللهم إنا نسألك حبك حب من يحبك والعمل الذي يقربنا إلى حبك. Ask Allah Azza wa Jalla for His love and the love of the ones who He loves and for the actions that will bring us His love. Amen. Does anyone remember last week? Very good. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Watch the video. Very good. So we talked about the sun, right? And how it will be brought close, and that people will begin to sweat and sweat and sweat, and based off the actions, people will be at ankle level sweat, or knee level sweat, or even up to their necks in sweat. We talked about how the throne will be brought by 8 angels carrying the throne, and then Allah will come. وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ وَالْمَلَكُ صَفًّا صَفًّا, and the angels are set in ranks, watching Allah Azza wa Jalla as He's entering and basking at His glory. And then we talked about the shadow of Allah Azza wa Jalla on that day, and who will be the 7 people who will be under the shadow of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And then we ended with the very long hadith of the prophets of Allah Azza wa Jalla, that the people will gather to go to the prophets to ask for intercession. And each of the prophets will say, Nafsi, Nafsi, myself, myself. They are only worried about themselves for what they have done in their lifetimes, except the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who will be making dua, Ya Rabb ummati, 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 Ya Rabb ummati, 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 my nation, my nation, my nation. Right. So then he said that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that point will go and to dua and make dua, and at that point the judgment will begin. That the questions will be asked. The first thing that will be asked is what? Salah, right? About our prayers, the first thing that will be accounted for. ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. And then after you are asked about Salah, you will be asked about the Na'im. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن أول ما يسأل عنه يوم القيامة يعني العبد من النعيم أن يقال له ألم نصح لك جسمك ونريك ونرويك من الماء البارد. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, indeed, the first of what will be asked about on the Day of Judgment, meaning the slave of Allah being questioned about his favors, is that it will be said to him, did we not make your body healthy and give you of cool water to drink? Right? So this will be of what the first that will be asked of the Na'im, the favors of Allah upon us, that He has made us, alhamdulillah, healthy in body, that there's a lot of people who are in worse conditions. Even if though we have conditions, there are people who are in worse conditions. We should be grateful for every aspect of health that we have. And the second is the cold water, as the Prophet Muhammad narrated in the hadith, Sahih hadith, that we have cold water to drink, right? Not just clean water, not filtered water, but even additionally to that, cold water. Prophet also he continues in another hadith. لا تزال قدم العبد يوم القيامة حتى يسأل عن أربعة. That the feet of the slave of Allah will not move from its spot unless it is asked about 4 questions. عن عمره فيما أفناه, about his years and how he spent it. Right? We lived however long we lived, and what did we do in this time period? وعن شبابه فيما أبلاه, and his youth and how he spent it. وعن ماله من أين اكتسبه وفيما أنفقه, and about his wealth, where he acquired it and where he spent it. وعن علمه ماذا عمل فيه. This is very interesting, about the knowledge and what he did with it. The knowledge that he gained and what he did with it. Now, some of the scholars said this is any knowledge. Others, or majority, have said this is about the knowledge that we have gained of ilm al-shari, the Islamic knowledge, Islamic education. That Allah's taught you how to pray. Did you teach someone how to pray? Allah's taught you how to make wudu. Have you taught someone how to make wudu? Allah has given you Islam. Have you taught Islam to someone else? Have you preached Islam? Right? These all, even if you're not a scholar, there's still knowledge that you have that you can share and benefit others from it. Right? Going back on the hadith, on shababi fima ablah, right? Your youth and how you spent it. That you have that the more you get older, it seems like the less time you have. Right? So the younger you are, the more time you have, the more you should insha fi ta'atillah. And then the man, how you uh, get it and how you spend it. Nowadays you have certain programs or things that you can subscribe to where you just buy the crate and you don't even know what the crate is in or what's in the crate. Or you buy things and sometimes you don't even know what you're buying. Right? You will be questioned about it. Right? Do you know what you're buying? Do you know, is it a benefit to you or is it something that's to be? Is it something that's not needed? Is it a necessity or is it a want? Do you need it in this life? Will it put you astray or will it keep you firm? Right? All of these things need to be asked. What continues then now you'll be asking about this and you'll also be given your book, where it will be al-kitab wa ji'na bin nabiyina wa shuhada, that the records of deeds will be placed and the witnesses of the prophets, wa ji'na bin nabiyyin, the prophets will be brought, and the shuhada, the witnesses. Now, why? Why? Because the prophets are witnesses. They are witnesses for the deliverance of the message that they have been given. When it was the day of Arafah, the Prophet Muhammad he stood on top of the mountain and he said, did I not give the message? Did I not deliver the message? He's telling the companions that were with him. And then he pointed to Allah and he says, Allahumma shahad, right? Same wording or same instance when at the time of his death, when he's delivering the final khutbah, and then he's saying, Ya Allah, be my witness that I have delivered your message to your people. Right? So this is all part of the witness that the Prophet Muhammad not only did he give the message, but he was always also a witness that he delivered the message. He will always also bear witness that he gave the juhud. The Prophet Muhammad tells us another hadith, ليس أحد يحاسب إلا هلك, that Aisha radiallahu anha, she's narrating this hadith that the Prophet Muhammad he said that he who is taken to account on the day of resurrection is in fact put to torment. And Aisha radiallahu anha, she's questioning the Prophet Muhammad she said, يا رسول الله جعلني الله فداءك أليس يقول الله عز وجل فأما من أوتي كتابه بيمينه فسوف يحاسب حسابا يسيرا. So she's quoting the ayah from the Quran. She's questioning the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. She said, "Isn't those who are given their book in their right hand will be given an easy reckoning, an easy questioning?" The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu replies, قال ذلك العرض يعرضون ومن يوقش الحساب هلك. That thereupon he said, what is implies is not the actual reckoning, but only the presentation of one's deeds to him. He who is thoroughly examined in reckoning is put to torment. That is, that some people, Allah will just present to them their actions. It will just be shown to them what they did. And others will be questioned for every single little thing. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? What was your intention behind this? What caused you to do this? So some people will just be given shown their actions, while others will be questioned for every little deed. And this is like the true torment, right? That you're asked for every single little thing. Imagine, instead of just being a general reckoning, you're asked for every single thing. So one thing that we should always ask Allah Azza wa Jal for is for an easy reckoning. Allah Azza wa Jal bless us with an easy reckoning. Ibn Umar, he said that I heard the Prophet Muhammad say, the believer will be brought near his Lord and the believer will come here till his Lord covers him with his screen. So the special believer, the believer that had done righteous deeds, right? Everyone's watching. He said that everyone's in the mahshar, everyone's gathered together, everyone witnessed the animals and them putting to death. And now the reckoning is happening in front of everyone. But the believer or the good believer, Allah will bring them forth and He will put a hijab between that person and the rest of the people. Very beautiful hadith. Till his Lord covers him with his screen, with the hijab, and makes him confess his sins. Allah will ask him, do you know what that you did, such and such sin? He will say, yes, I do. And Allah says, do you know that you did such and such sin? And the believer will confess, yes, Ya Rabb, I know I did this sin. Yes, I do. Then Allah will say, I concealed it in the world سترتها في الدنيا وأغفرها لك اليوم. That I have covered you, I've concealed you in this life, and I will cover you and I will conceal you now as well. Very, very beautiful hadith. Then the record of good deeds will be folded up. As for others or the disbelievers, it will be announced publicly before the witnesses. These are the ones who lied against their Lord. So there's people who, well, Allah will, the believer, Allah will cover them and shade them. We put a hijab, so it's like a one-on-one with Allah. And you'll be asked about the sin, and you will confess to that sin, and Allah Azza wa Jalla, He'll say, I concealed it for you in this life, in this dunya, and I'll conceal it for you now. Now, going in more depth in Tafsir al-Qurtubi, very beautiful scholar. May Allah Azza wa Jalla accept from him. He goes into the Tafsir about what exactly happens with the book. Right? So he says in the Tafsir al-Qurtubi, commenting on verses from Surah Al-Haqqa, excuse me. فإذا كان الرجل رأسا في الخير رأسا في الخير يدعو إليه ويأمر به. That when the good person is brought forth, دعي باسمه واسم أبيه, that he will be called by name. That is his first name and his father's name. So you know when you're being called. You're amongst the people, everyone's set in ranks, and you will be called, and everyone's looking back at you, and they're making way for you to be brought forth. فيتقدم, he will be brought forth حتى إذا دنا أخرج له كتاب أبيض بخط أبيض. That he will be brought to him, and it will be taken out for him a book, a white book with white ink. في باطنه السيئات وفي ظاهره الحسنات. That the first half of the book, or the first part of the book, is the believer's sins. It's very peculiar. Why the sins first? And then at the end of the book is, or near the ending, the second half of the book is the believer's good deeds. So the first is the bad deeds, the second is the good deeds. فيقرأها فيشتق ويصفر وجهه ويتغير لونه. So now فيبدأ بالسيئات فيقرأها فيشتق ويصفر وجهه ويتغير لونه. That he starts reading the book. Now the book is given, the record is given to him, and the first part of it is the sayyat. So he's reading the sayyat first, and his face becomes dark. His tone changes. He seems depressed. He seems scared because he's seeing all of these bad deeds that he's committed. فإذا بلغ آخر الكتاب, now he reaches the end of all of the sins that he's committed. فإذا بلغ آخر الكتاب وجد فيه, it is written in the book, his book, هذه سيئاتك, these are your sins, وقد غفرت لك, and I have forgiven you. Very beautiful. So the first person now becomes very happy. فيفرح كذلك فرحا شديدا, that he becomes extremely, extremely happy. ثم يقلب كتابه, he flips the book, فيقرأ حسناته فلا يزداد إلا فرحا. That now he reads the good deeds, the second half of the book, and it just exceeds him in happiness, because now he sees how much Allah not only has forgiven the sins, but now how much he is raised in status for the good deeds that he has committed, that he has done. Now vice versa now. That the person with, and Tafsir al-Qurtubi, he continues very long narration, but he continues that now when the bad person is brought and his book is given to him, what's the first part of the book? Is hasanat, right? That his good deeds are shown to him first. And he's reading and reading, right? He's first called by his first and last name. So he comes up, a black book with black ink is given to him. And the front of it is good deeds, and the back is bad deeds. And so he's reading his good deeds, and he's very happy until it gets to the end of the good deeds, and it said to him, it is written in the book, هذه حسناتك وقد ردت عليك. That these are your good deeds, and it has been returned back on you. It is rejected. And so now he gets very shocked and flushed and saddened. And he now, what is the second half of the book? السيئات, his bad deeds. فلا يزداد إلا حزنا. And now he only exceeds and gets sadder. And then at that point, after he finishes reading his book, he is given the book is given to him, ويقول يا ليتني لم أوت كتابيا. He'll say, I wish I have not been given a book. ولم أدري ما حسابيا. And I wish that I didn't even know my reckoning. This is the day that Allah will say, اقرأ كتابك, read your book. كفى بنفسك اليوم عليك حسيبا. For you, enough, it's you as a witness to your own self, to your own actions that you have committed. So this is this day. This is like it's almost very mind twisting. Like you think you're doing good, but then you do bad. You think you're doing bad, but then you do good. May Allah Azza wa Jalla, protect us and give us salvation on that day. So Imam al-Qurtubi continues, he says, فَتَوَهَّمْ نَفْسَكَ. Imagine yourself in this situation. وَأَنْتَ بَيْنَ يَدَيْ رَبِّكَ. And you're standing in front of Allah. في يدك صحيفة مخبرة بعملك لا تغادر هدية كتبتها ولا مخبأة أسرتها. That nothing is hidden in it. Everything is shown. Everything is there. وأنت تقرأ ما فيها بلسان كريم وقلب منكسر. That you're reading it with a broken heart. فكانت بلية. How many actions قد كنت نسيتها ذكرتها. How many actions that you've done that you forgot about, but now you are reminded of it. وكم من سيئة. How many sins قد كنت أخفيتها that you've hidden it. قد أظهرتها وأبداها that is now been shown. وكم من عمل ظننت أنه سلم لك. How many actions do you think that you would be saved from. وخلص فرده that now it is being brought forth عليك في ذلك الموقف. It is brought to you and you are seeing it in that instance. فأما من أوتي كتابه بيمينه. As for those who is given his book in his right hand, فعلم أنه من أهل الجنة. That he knows that he knows that he is from amongst the winners. It's like a court case, right? The lawyer says, I think we can win, right? Even though you haven't passed the judgment yet, you still think and you have confidence that you can win. فَلَمَّا أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ فَيَقُولُ هَاؤُمُ اقْرَءُوا كِتَابِيَهْ. Right? He will go out now from outside of the hijab that Allah has covered him with, and he will have his book in his right hand, his record in his right hand, and he is telling the people in the mahshar, هَاؤُمُ اقْرَءُوا كِتَابِيَهْ. Read my record. This is my book. I'm like, he's very happy, so he's proclaiming his success. وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ. So some people will be given their book in the right hand, and others will be given to them in their left hand. Now here the ayah is specifying وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ. As for those who are given